Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Only a few weeks before, I saw every Thursday 35,000 school students marching across the street in Brussels. Instead of being in their classrooms, they were marching in Brussels. Their march for sustainability and recycling led to a tearful resignation of Belgian Environment Minister. Only a few weeks before, I saw in Financial Times 5-inch long article talking about threat from plastic waste. And only a few weeks before, I saw in the Time magazine photos of plastic in the seas. Clearly, our perception or the public perception about our care for planet and plastic waste has become really bad. As of now, this bad perception is about plastics. Next month, it could be for rubber or tire. A month after next could be for paper. And what is most striking and intriguing about this reality, conspicuous reality, is that it's not the industry who's involved in this perception. It's the public, it's the press, and eventually it's the politicians who are driving up the change in the mindset. And this is alarming. This is a matter of grave concern. And what I want to point out, that both public and press fraternity are victims of gross ignorance. It's not the plastic materials which is to be blamed. It's what we do with it is to be blamed. It's the consumer choice, it's the consumer behavior which needs to be changed. I agree with the Dr. Daniel Amen, a very well-known neuro expert, an author on bestseller, that music is a very powerful tool to change people's behavior. Can you imagine the impact on sustainability when we start sorting scrap at the origin? Can you imagine the impact when all the music lovers can be persuaded to learn the habit of dropping their trash in specific containers at the music festival? Can you imagine the impact of this new habit on their homes and offices? Let me put things in a proper perspective. Worldwide, we generate about 300 million tons of plastic waste every year. By my best calculation, although it's difficult to get exact figure, we recycle only 25% of the material, about 75 million tons. There is a wish, universal wish, to raise the recycling from 25 to 50% to almost 150 million tons in next 5 years. I happened to be at the plastic recycling conference in Washington last month, and I met some plastics recycling, machinery recycling manufacturers. And I asked them, gentlemen, if I come to you with a check from Mr. Bill Gates, many of you might be aware that Mr. Bill Gates is a leading investor in a waste management company. If I come to you with a check from Mr. Bill Gates, and you produce machinery only for plastic recycling in whole next year, how much recycling capacity can you add in 1 year? Can you believe what we came up with the figure? Worldwide, all combined together, including unorganized manufacturers in India or China, we can add only a manufacturing or recycling capacity of only 5 million tons per year. Then how on earth we are going to increase the capacity to 75 million tons in 5 years? Besides, we need an investment of $20 billion to reach to this infrastructure. Simply, we don't have the infrastructure. Nor do we have physical or financial resources to reach to this target. Then what do? Instead, we need to change the behavior of the people. And how do you do the behavior? Music industry can play a very important role. They can influence to the people that put the plastics, the metal, the rubber, the paper in respective different bins. And music can also influence to change the behavior, the mind, the preferences of the customer, the choice. Can we persuade the young people and the public to say no to all the products made from non-recyclable materials? A big no for all the products which are non-sustainable. A big no for all the products which are made from complex materials. Yes, we can do so. If young people can be persuaded to boycott such materials, to blacklist those companies who produce such non-sustainable materials, I think there would be a big, profound impact. Leonardo DiCaprio, through the movie Blood Diamonds, he changed the whole perception about the diamonds coming from conflict areas. Similarly, music can push the producers of the plastics to produce simple plastics. Produce a plastic so simple, technically good enough for durability, for freshness, for lightweight. Simple but uncomplex enough that it can be easily recycled. We need to educate them. We need to coach them. Instead of reducing the choice by banning such and such material, we need to guide them. We cannot live without plastics, even for 24 hours. We wake up in the morning, the first thing we do is to look at our mobile. Mobile is made up with plastics. We take a shower, many parts of the shower are made up with plastics. You take a car to go from your home to the office, it's made up with plastics. Then laptop, pen, everything. In fact, plastics touch the life of almost everybody in every hour. It would be difficult to imagine a world without plastics. Without plastics, the vehicle would become more expensive. They're more heavier. They would consume more fuel. The food waste will increase. And this is what we need to teach the people. We need to teach the young people. And who can do this job better than the music industry? Music industry is a big industry. So is the recycling industry. And they can complement each other in reaching this common target of making the world a better place to live. We are fortunate that we have resources. Why not we use the resource to change the world, which we can pass on to the next generation with pride? Recycling industry has to be seen that we are committed to resolving the issue. The prime resin producers, they are making big efforts towards sustainability and recycling. They have committed $1.5 billion to end the plastic waste. I'm talking about $1.5 billion. Thank you, Marco. Similarly, we have to do our bit as well. I was a speaker in one of the prime producers conference last month, and when I looked at their agenda, I felt I have come to attend a recycling conference. They have the same kind of proposals, same ideas. I like the idea of Mr. Peter Gordon. Such projects on music events would connect we, the recycling entrepreneurs, with our next generations. My company, Gemini Sigma, would like to contribute $15,000 towards this project. I was pleased to hear the response of Mr. Art Dose from ISRI Tire Division President, Chair. The enthusiasm, the commitment, the time he was willing to give, he's willing to give. The same from Mr. Scott Sanders from KW Plastics. Their total commitment to make the project as successful as possible, and I'm sure many of you colleagues would join. We are all sitting here with the powerhouses here. I'm sure all of us can contribute in big or small way. And I believe the biggest contribution you can make is your time. Time to persuade your children to chip in, to join it. Time to give this project a shape and a structure. I know financial contribution is of course welcome, but what is important is time to give, to consider, and to how to put the whole thing in proper perspective. though the time is limited, I would still ask your comments how this particular project, this music recycling events, how to handle the music events, if you can make some kind of comments and contributions on this. Me and Kanika would be meeting all of you personally after these presentations. We are collecting your details. She would be updating you the next course of action in a few weeks. And I thank you so much for your contribution of your time by being present here. We all can make a big difference to this world to make a better place to live. Thank you so much. Well, I'd like to invite any comment on this project.